Hey guys, today we have a 2025 Volkswagen Jetta GLI. In this video, I'll talk about what the newly refreshed Jetta GLI is, how I feel about the interior space, and what it's like to drive it. Remember when basically every manufacturer had a sporty version of their compact car in their lineup? I don't want to say those days are gone, but there is less players on the market than there was 10 years ago. So what are our choices? Well, we have a Subaru WRX, Hyundai Elantra N, Honda Civic Si, or today's hero, the Volkswagen Jetta GLI. Now, 2025 model year brought some styling updates to the Jetta lineup. We received new front and rear fascias, updated color and wheel options, and a redesigned cabin, but from a mechanical perspective, everything remained the same. The 7th generation Jetta sits on Volkswagen's MQB platform, which dates back to 2012 and underpins 20 million different Volkswagen Group products. It features a strut front suspension, and unlike the regular Jetta, which has a torsion beam, the GLI gets multilink setup in the back, combined with adaptive dampers, and the car sits lower compared to the regular Jetta by 0.6 inches. Now, under the hood sits a 228 horsepower turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder, which is basically a detuned version of what you can find in the Golf GTI. The car is obviously front-wheel drive, it has an ELSD, and as of transmissions, you can choose between a 6-speed manual or a 7-speed dual clutch. Pricing starts at around $34,000, no matter which transmissions you choose. Now, before we talk what it's like to drive the new GLI, let's take a look inside and talk about the interior space. Okay guys, inside the refreshed GLI. Now the cabin, just like every other VW, basically puts you to sleep with its simplicity and grayscale colors, well, minus some red accents that the GLI gets, but there is an upside of that design. It will not age very quickly, which Jettas from the past proved, and they still look pretty good to this day. The only thing that probably will not age as well are the capacitive controls on the steering wheel and the HVAC panel. They're frustrating to use, and yes, you can get used to them, but I'll say it all over again. Why change something that has worked for decades? Just give me physical buttons. The material choice isn't going to blow your mind, and there's a lot of hard touch plastics below the belt line, but they don't feel terrible and everything is well put together, giving you that solidity that German cars are associated with. The technology implementation is good. You can tell that this isn't Volkswagen's latest and greatest, but it all works. The infotainment is pretty basic and has a clean interface, making it easy to use. You also get a wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, and the digital gauge cluster is very customizable, allowing you to change the design of your gauges and select what information you want, whether it's the media, driver assist, vehicle information, or the trip computer. Where the GLI really shines though is the interior usability and space. The storage in the center console and under the armrest are great, the door pockets also offer a good amount of space, and the trunk is enormous. The back seat also offers tons of space with lots of legroom and headroom, and full-size adults or a child seat will fit back there without any issues. Sadly, no climate vents or charging ports in the back, but they're not must-haves. Lastly, the front seats. They may not be as supportive as in a Civic Si or a Subaru WRX, however, they are very comfortable for a compact car, plus they are heated and cooled standard, which you will definitely appreciate if you live in a place with all 4 seasons. Well, that was the cabin of the refreshed GLI, so let's get it on the road now and see how it drives. Okay guys, driving the GLI. So, segment of cars that GLI represents, those cars aren't necessarily your autocross tools or track tools, they are daily commuters that are a little bit more enjoyable to drive, that don't suck the soul out of you, and on a day like today, Saturday morning, you go to your favorite back road and have a little bit of fun. So, since we're on our favorite back road, let's put the GLI into sport mode, transmission in manual, and see how it does. First thing you notice is there's a lot more fake engine noise coming through the speakers. I mean, come on Volkswagen, there are ways to make 4-cylinder engines sound good. You don't have to use synthesis, but it's okay because this motor is really, really impressive. Again, it has 228 horsepower, but it feels like it has 228 horses to the wheels. I would say to the crank, it probably makes like 250 because it feels very fast, has plenty of low and mid-range torque, and it's a very, very refined unit. I like how it delivers power. It does it very smoothly and works great with a 7-speed dual clutch that our tester has. Now, when I first got this tester, I was a little bit disappointed that it wasn't a manual, but then I remembered that Volkswagen makes pretty average manual transmissions, but really good dual clutches, and I have no complaints about this unit. Obviously, not as sharp as something like a PDK in Porsche, but in your $35,000 compact sedan, it really gets the job done. As you go through corners, we cannot feel anything on the steering wheel. There is virtually zero feedback. That's your typical Volkswagen. The dampers stiffen up in sport mode, so there's noticeably less body roll, and body control is great, but you can still tell that the GLI likes to lean, but I don't have many complaints. It rotates. From a driving dynamics perspective, it is fun to drive. It's downshift, take this corner, a little bit of torque steer, and not too much grip because the Kumo tires that are fitted on our tester are probably one of the cheapest tires you can get on cars. That's one thing I don't understand Volkswagen. They put pretty bad tires from the factory on their cars, so definitely one of the first mods I would do is I would get a set of Pilot Sports 4Ss on my GLI. There's a little bit of torque steer. Granted, we have XDS and ELSD, but you can still feel that the car really likes to go forward when you push it. Yeah, man, this thing is really quick. Feels much quicker than a Civic Si. Yeah, there is that understeer, but I couldn't feel anything on the steering wheel. Alrighty, let's go back into comfort mode and talk about what it's like to drive the GLI on a daily basis. I really like it. It doesn't provoke you to drive fast if you put it into comfort mode. It drives like a refined, even entry-level luxury car. The cabin isolation is pretty good. The suspension and comfort setting does a very good job absorbing all the road imperfections. The engine has a lot of that low and mid-range torque that I mentioned, so you don't really have to rev it up high to get this thing going. And it's a very, very positive experience. It has that dual personality that car enthusiasts look in their dailies. It's super fun to drive when you really want to. It's really nice and refined when you need it to be. Same with the 7-speed dual clutch transmission. It's much more slower. It's a little bit less, I want to say, aggressive, but it works very smoothly for a DCT unit. So that's a really good advantage of this car. I really like the fact that Volkswagen gives you that dual clutch option rather than a torque converted unit. It's a very, very nice transmission. We also get a good set of driver assistance systems. They work well, adaptive cruise control, lane centering, and yeah, from a daily drivability, the GLI is a really, really well-designed product. So with that, let's head into the final thoughts and summarize this thing. Okay guys, summing up the refreshed GLI. While it's still not the best driver's car in the segment, I think Civic Si has the first place. As an overall package and a daily, I think the GLI is even better. It offers a lot for 35 grand. Adaptive suspension, active cruise control with lane centering, heated steering wheel, heated and cooled seats, and what's really important, spacious and practical cabin. Plus, the ride quality, like I said, is very good. The cabin is quiet and your fuel economy will be probably in high 20s in the city, mid 30s on a highway, so it's a very strong result. Anyways, if you guys have any question about this thing, drop a comment and I'll answer them. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later.